Okay, at this stage, we've started with this system of three equations. We eliminated z, we eliminated z. We eliminated it from the first two equations and then from the first and third equation, and we got these two equations, which we solved simultaneously. We eliminated y, leaving an equation in x, and we solved that equation. We got x equals negative 19 over 29. Now we take that and we plug it into either of these equations. I'll choose this one because it's easier to draw the arrow. And we get what? We get 5 times negative 19 over 29 plus y equals negative 2. Okay? Now we solve that. The easiest way to solve this is to get rid of the denominator completely. We multiply both sides by 29 to get negative 95. Negative 95 being 5 times negative 19 plus 29y equals 58. Negative 58, because that's a negative 2. Negative 2 times 29 is negative 58. And then we get 29y equals negative 58 plus 95. And negative 58 plus 95 is, let's see, that's 37. So y, I think, is going to be 37 over 29. Now we have values for x and y. We can check these values with either of these equations to make sure they're consistent. And I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take a risk here because I'm doing this in my head as I go. But I'm going to take this x value and this y value now. If I substitute into either of these equations, I should get an identity. If, though, I take this x value and substitute it, let's say, into our first equation, and take this y value and substitute it into the same equation, what do I get? I get the equation 2 times x, which is negative 19 over 29, plus 3y, that's going to be 3 times 37 over 29. And then it's going to be minus 4z. We don't know z. Minus 4z equals 1. So now what do we have? We have an equation we can easily solve for z. And you ought to pause and do that. I'm going to write out the solution off camera. You ought to study what I did here and apply similar ideas here. Okay, you should have done this. You multiply by 29. Okay, in solving this equation, we have denominator 29. People haven't yet, as a whole, picked up on the advice I gave early in the semester. If you have an equation with denominators, multiply by a common denominator, you get rid of all the fractions. So you multiply by 29, we get this. And okay, now, 29 times 4 is 130, minus 4 is 116. Okay, so we get this equation in z, and I'm not going to do the details. You can do them. I believe we get negative 116z equals negative 63, and you better check me on that. I did that in my head. I don't guarantee that this is correct. We get z equals 63 over 116. And I'll put some question marks here. Is that really true? Okay, well, if it is, our solution is x is negative 19 over 29, which we got from our first system, reduced system of equations, and y equals 37 over 29, which we got by plugging in our x value here and getting this equation, solving for y, and then plugging both our x and our y back into the first of the equations. We get this, which we just solved. Hopefully we solved it correctly. and we get this. If you got something different from what I got, that's okay. Yeah, maybe you're right. Okay, check with the third original equation. Now, okay, what we want to do is we want to put this solution into any one of the equations, but I picked the third because it's probably the easiest, and we want to add that up and see if it checks out. So you should take my solution, and if you got something different, you should take your solution and plug into this equation and see which one is right if you disagree with the equation or with the solution that I just got. Okay, well, checking my solution, and I'll say it doesn't look good. Checking my solution, we plug these numbers in for x, y, and z and see if they add up to 1. Common denominator is 116, which is 4 times 29. So multiplying through by the 116, well, actually, let me modify what I've got here because I didn't do exactly what I said I was going to do. There's nothing invalid about this. It's not going to look good when I do it right either. Okay, made a quick correction, did what I said I was doing. Multiplying through by 116, which is 4 times 29. If we multiply this by 116, we're going to have 116 over 29, which is 4, and 4 times negative 19 is negative 76. Similarly, we're going to end up here with 4 times 37, which I believe is 138. And, of course, 116 times 116 is 1, so we're going to have the 63. Multiplying 1 by 116, we get 116, and these numbers don't add up to 116. So there's something wrong with my solution. You can, hopefully your solution worked out even better. And if you got a solution and you haven't yet checked it in this manner, you should do so now. In any case, aside from some arithmetic mistakes, a mistake or mistakes, this is the method we use to solve the equation. We reduce the system to a system of 2 equations. We solve the system of 2 equations to get x and y. We take those x and y values, plug them back into any one of the equations, and solve that equation for z. Gives us the solution, and if we've done it correctly, our solution will be correct.